Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shouting Over Static, a video game show and tell podcast. We should probably change that tagline, because it hasn't been a video game show and tell podcast in months.
We show and tell.
So, I guess. I'm Mark. I haven't really shown or told. I suppose I'm about to tell. I'm definitely not showing, though. That was Dylan. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay, actually. For the first Friday in a while, I didn't stay up really, really late, either drinking or otherwise, so I feel pretty good, actually. I feel like I can face the day. So that's nice. I'm here with
First
Shaw.
podcast where you're not hungover. Congrats.
That's not true.
No, I know.
God damn it, man. Sometimes we record after work.
Yeah, exactly.
Can work give you a hangover?
Worse than a hangover.
It does make me feel exhausted like a hangover. That was Chaw there. Worse than a hangover. Are you happy in your job, Chaw?
Yeah, I'm very happy actually.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm pleased. And also, I've been stalling for time because it seems like Jack has had some panicked headphone problems during the last minute of recording. How you doing, Jack?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm drained as fuck. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, well, if you need to just have like a little nap in the middle of this or something.
Oh man.
So, what are we doing here today? What are we doing here today? We've come together on today, this day, the end of the month, to talk about the game we played for June. Freebird Games 2011 indie smash hit, To the Moon.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was an interesting game.
I don't know. It won GameSpot's Best Story of 2011 award.
It got a lot of attention. I remember hearing a lot about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never
Not
heard
even
of
when
it,
it
but
came out.
fuck video games. I don't even like them. I just like talking to you guys.
I'm fairly certain it was fairly successful for an indie game.
Yes,
It's
it
got
seemed
81.
relatively popular on Steam.
Yeah, very positive on Steam is very, very good.
Unlikely as well. So, what is this game all about? I think so. What is this podcast all about? We played it all month. Some of us finished it more recently than others. Some of us finished it 10 minutes ago. Some of us finished it a week ago. But we have come together to talk about it, to do a deep dive on this here video game.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. I'm going to go onto its Wikipedia page and run through the details. Let's do some quantitative analysis. Developer, Freebird Games. Designer, Kangao, who is also the artist, writer, and composer. And
See
we're
the
going to
next
get into...
Kojima.
Yeah, he's like an indie Kojima. He sort of actually is as well. We'll get into what this game's all about in a bit. Yeah, it was made in fucking RPG Maker, which is impressive because it is pretty good. To tell a story game in an engine that is designed for turn-based battles is well done, I think. And yeah, it tells the story of two doctors who work for, is it Sigmund Corp?
yes.
Yeah.
Who go around and they create artificial memories for people on death's door so that they can die without having any regrets. So you play as Dr. Eva Rosaline and Dr. Neil Watts, and you go to fulfill the lifelong dream of Johnny Wiles. And it's like, what, 4 hours long? 3.5?
Yeah.
I don't even think I hit 4 hours.
It felt longer.
Wow. Shit.
I guess it's just me and just trying to get through it, but
How long did I spend on it? To the Moon. 3 hours. I've got 3 hours playtime. I think it's probably around 4 hours, but it just didn't
yeah,
quite hit.
I've got 4 hours on mine.
Yeah, Steam says 4 hours, but I don't think it's full 4 hours.
Yeah, my Steam says 3, and I think the in-game save clock says like 3.5. And they're going to make an animated film of it, so it must be doing pretty damn well.
Really?
It must have done all right. Yeah.
I can understand that. I mean, I feel like personally it should have always just been a story.
Yes. I tend to agree. What do people think of it? I mean, what do people think of this? This is, I mean, shit, dude. Yeah, this is very, very different to the last two things we've done, which I think has been a nice change of pace, but...
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we probably needed it as well.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, it was
I
nice
couldn't
to have
deal with too
something-
much more gruff murder.
It's very minimal involvement in terms of your input, but I quite enjoyed it. I quite like the minimal involvement. I'm lazy.
But it wasn't really minimal involvement, though, was it? Because you have to click through the entire thing. You can't just sit back and watch it unfold and then occasionally involve yourself. You have to be actively doing stuff the entire time, whereas other games you can, like, if there's a cutscene, you just sit and watch it.
Yeah, that's true. But like,
Whereas
I
this,
just,
you
like-
had to just let it click through every single fucking word.
Oh yeah, but I just tap C and then it happens. It's really just tap.
Yeah.
You do only need one hand to play this game. Think of what you could be doing with that other hand. I ate a sandwich.
Oh man, what?
A
You
fucking...
could play To the Moon and its sequel simultaneously.
That sounds awful. So, I want to get in. Before we get into this game, is mostly story, but there are some technical considerations that I'm very passionate about. That I think we should get into before we get into what this story is all about. This game's fucking broken.
Yeah.
As I was explaining before we started, on two separate occasions during this game, it hard crashed the desktop and glitched on some audio and fucked my computer, and I had to do a hard reset of my computer.
God damn. What the hell?
Two separate occasions. Luckily, it's got a relatively good autosave in it, so I only lost a couple of minutes progress each time.
Yeah.
But what the fuck? That's not cool. Also, it doesn't seem to have arbitrary resolutions in it. And it's got loads of letterboxing. So it's just kind of like a hazy square in the middle of my monitor. And that's not cool. Come on. Come on.
Yeah,
It's kind of hard to have like arbitrary resolution when you're a pixel game, right? It's either gonna fill your screen or be in a tiny box in the middle of your screen.
No, I mean, but you just show more, don't you? Really?
Yeah, but the designs
They-
have to be fit the screen, right? You can't just show more if you have nothing to show.
Yeah,
Most of the
also they
levels
had
are
bits like
that.
you'd get to a certain point of a level, and so even if the level was big enough to just show more, they had a whole thing of as soon as something appeared on screen, then a cutscene would initiate. So if they showed more, then it would just go a bit funny, right?
Okay, I forgive that. What I don't forgive is someone making a game in 2011 that runs in 4x3.
Hey man, 2011 was so long ago. Everybody was using CRTs back then.
Fuck off.
Maybe it's an RPG Maker technical constraint. You can only make games in 4x3.
Possibly. So is RPG Maker shit? Is the thing I need to Google. Here we go then. So RPG Maker XP, which is what this is made in, runs at 1024 by 768 resolution, and the games made in it run at 640 by 480.
Yeah.
There you go.
So there we go. You're right, sure. It's a technical limitation of the engine.
The engine is, yeah.
I don't know.
Let's call it an engine.
I don't know. I'm not usually a snob, and I'll play games. And I like if it was a low resolution, in 16 by 9, I'd have been fine by that. But 4 by 3 is so fucking bad. I hate vertical letterboxing so much.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that. I completely got past that. But what I do have a problem is it was the bushes in the game that you keep running into. Like some bushes you
Yeah.
can run past, some bushes
Yeah.
you can't.
And they did it with people as well. Sometimes a person would be so like they do the shaded out memories of people, which is I thought was quite a neat thing. But sometimes you could run through them, sometimes you couldn't. And sometimes there was one level where you could delete them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to say, that
Yeah.
level was fucked up.
And like some weird shit started happening in that level as well, and then they never explained it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, it
man.
doesn't really tie in with the rest of the story. And I was it started happening, and I was like, "Is this taking me somewhere?" And then it didn't.
Yeah.
Wait, which level are you talking about?
The first
In
time you go to the
cinema?
cinema.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you can delete people, and if you keep deleting them, Dr. Watts is like, you don't need to do that, right? And then some other stuff.
And eventually you
And
delete
then-
all of them, and the music gets really sinister, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And like the lights
light
start
starts flashing.
flickering.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't try that because Dr. Watts told me not to.
But then they never explain that, and you can't delete them in other levels either. It's only that level.
Yeah, that is weird.
Nobody explained it to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I quite enjoyed the game, and I think if it hadn't have like full on fucking crashed on me twice, I'd be willing to forgive it some of its other technical limitations. But from my perspective, it's just such a technically limited game that you just go, well, like, if the game doesn't even run properly, why the fuck are you even making a video game? You've got an awesome, beautiful story to tell that I really, really enjoyed, but like it's not even the one time he tries to have any gameplay that isn't just talking to people. Instead of aping like every other point-and-click adventure game and just making it like you have to collect this item and putting it somewhere, it's you have to write the name of some really forced anachronistic Animorphs reference, and it's not even the right reference because Christ knows why. It must be some weird like lost in translation thing. 'Cause Freebird Games is a Japanese developer, I think. I feel like they are. I feel like I heard somewhere they were Japanese, but I could just be totally fucking making that up, and that could just be me being a bastard. But I just don't understand why this had to be. It's going to be a really great movie when they make it into a movie.
Yeah, it didn't have to be a game at all. I think that's its main flaw. There was so many points where I felt like it kind of killed it because the setup is all really important to like the sort of emotional payoff at the end, but yeah, it's so much boring clicking.
There was the one red herring, well, not red herring, trick that they did with the fight with this girl. Do you remember that?
That is really
yeah,
funny.
at the beginning.
Yeah, that was super funny.
That was actually like legitimately really fucking funny.
What did you guys pick? I picked throw my shoe at it, and they shouted at me.
I picked like tornado wave, and then it gave
Yeah.
me options for like loud, louder, loudest.
Yeah.
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 If you pick shoe, it was like hard, harder, hardest.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And then they tell you off for animal abuse. I assume
Yeah.
it's the same.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That was really clever.
Oh, yeah. And it's a screenshot on the Steam store as well, so it's just like, maybe this game has battle systems, but no.
It's just fucking cheeky, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
From the looks of it, the sequel has a similar scene, but I think
Nice.
you do actually fight.
all right. Okay.
Weird.
No, I don't
You
want to
fight.
fight. I don't want to fight in a story game.
I don't
there
know.
was
Like, sorry.
sorry,
on.
go ahead.
I was just gonna. We are demonstrating that maybe this isn't a recording with all four of us in the same room. I was just gonna say that like I quite like point and click adventure games. I think they are usually showcases for some really talented like writing and like clever humor and intricate design. but usually that's because you can go around and look at things and read things, and you get a sense of a world. Whereas this, like, it doesn't even, you can't even like go around and click on things and get little bits of incidental dialogue for stuff that you like look at, really, apart from bookshelves.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's not
And
like feature rich in its world. Like, there's some other games where you can just go around and explore, and there's just so much to learn. And this is not one of them.
And like, I guess it was only a few weeks ago on Chatting Over News we were talking about how it's awesome that people now have the tools to make the games they want to make. But at least from my perspective, I wonder if this, considering this already has sections of animation in it where it just goes into like a full-on fucking anime cutscene,
Yeah.
I wonder if it needs to be a game at all, because it doesn't seem like it uses it being a game to great effect.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking that, the timeline at the top of the screen that changes and jumps from like different memory to the other.
Yeah,
I thought that was going to be a mechanic that you can just kind of click on at any point and you can go to that timeline,
me too.
but it wasn't. No.
As it stands, it's just a progress bar for the first act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I expected it to be almost like a sort of Chrono Trigger style. Once you've unlocked all of them, you can then freely move between them, and then that's like when you start solving puzzles to sort of fix this guy's life so that he does what he wants to do. But
Mm.
yeah, totally not that. Totally just a progress bar, or maybe it's just a way of making sure that you can differentiate, because the middle three are all basically the same pixel art for the dude, just with like varying hair length. So maybe it's just a
Yeah.
way to differentiate what era you're in. I don't know. I don't want to.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, I really liked this game. I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on it, but I had like a bunch of technical issues, and I didn't feel like it used being a point and click adventure enough. And it just makes me be like, well, dude, I wonder if the sequel, which came out 6 years later, is better in those aspects, because it just there's just something about it where like I fucking loved the story. Like I thought the story was really, really powerful and super well told, and like I loved the ending, and like I really enjoyed it. But just, why was it a game?
I guess the thing is, it's almost like when you've got tools like RPG Maker, it might just actually be easier to make the game than make an animation.
Yeah.
Because people, I think, are going to be more forgiving of a slightly choppy game
Yeah.
than a choppy animation. Because I guess it seems harder to make a game right, even though what I'm saying is kind of the opposite. People are going to be more like, oh, this is a funky little game, even though it looks a bit shit. Whereas if it was a shit little animation, nobody would watch it, would they?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be so much harder to make an animation with like proper voice acting and proper animation and everything. Yes.
Like if the animation was just that pixel art, but instead of you just didn't click, it just went through it,
Yeah, no.
then nobody would watch it.
Yeah.
And also you'd have to get voice actors, because otherwise, again, nobody would watch it.
Yeah.
So I guess the ability to make games kind of presents you with an opportunity to tell a story, even if you have to sacrifice a little bit. It gets it out there a bit easier, but
Like, you wouldn't read this either, right? You just wouldn't pick up something. It's not even going to be a book. It's just going to be a little short story. And I think tying that into a game is a much better experience than having it in either forms of media.
yeah. True, and you'd have to have it be a 4-hour film.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
a
I think
bit
maybe
much.
I'm just being a bit butthurt because it broke on me twice.
No, I know what you mean. I don't like the game either. I also agree that it would have been better as just a story. But I just think, I guess, because it gives them a way to tell the story, doesn't it? I mean, you guys know how much I disliked playing that game. but once you get to the end, it is all worth it. At least
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just the problem of having to get to the end. Like if we weren't doing it for the podcast, I probably wouldn't have played it.
Oh no, definitely not.
I'd have played like 5 minutes of it and then been like, yeah, fuck this.
That's
But I'm
why-
glad I did.
That's why this podcast was great. We get to play games that we don't normally play.
True.
Yeah, like Ken Gao is clearly a incredibly talented man with a lot of great ideas, and the dude can fucking play piano like nobody's business.
Oh my god. Yeah, the soundtrack
So-
is amazing.
Yeah, like I don't really have anything else bad to say about the game, I guess. So I mean, if you want, we could just now get in on this shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because damn, that music is so fucking good.
Oh my god. the piano melodies are just oh my god. They're so like emotion like grabbing. Like they just get you and you're just like, man, this is just so good.
Yeah. Like the first scene with the wife on the bed, like
Yeah.
giving the rabbit to the man, to Johnny. Like the first time that happened and the music was playing, I just started crying. Like it's just emotional as fuck. I can't deal with it.
Mate, it's pretty serious shit. There were definitely a few points where I was just like, I was blubbing a bit. Like I wasn't full on crying, but I was definitely just like whimpering. Like, oh, fuck, come on, not cool.
Yeah, it considering I finished it like less than half an hour ago, it certainly feels like just taking a gut punch of emotions. That's what it felt like playing it. It's just like, oh man, I'm just getting, yeah, like you said, Joel, you just can't handle it sometimes.
No, it just comes out Russian.
I'm impressed you're like talking right now because I couldn't really talk for like half an hour afterwards. I was just sort of wandering around the house like, what do I do? Hang on. Fuck.
The ending didn't get to me as much as the first few bits of the game did, and the scene where where the twist was revealed, more or less.
Mate, the ending fucked me up, man. Like basically everything from when you're a little boy, or when you're with the little boy and he meets River on the log.
Oh
Yeah.
Basically everything from there is just fucking fucked.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
even have the vocabulary to deal with that shit. It's too
But,
much.
I mean, it's as soon as you kind of realize why she was always asking,
yeah.
why she was asking what is the rabbit?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because every time he's confused, he's just like, it's a paper rabbit. What the fuck do you expect me to say? And obviously she's referencing that childhood moment, but he's forgotten it because, well, I mean, the whole beta blocker thing.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, so like let's get on this shit. I'm about to spoil the fuck out of this whole video game. Let's go. Right.
Let's do it.
So Dr. Watts and Dr. Rosaline roll up on this old dude Johnny's house, and they're like, "Yo, Johnny, you're dying. We're gonna hook you up with some sweet memories." And Johnny's like, "I want to go to the moon." And they're like, "Right, Johnny, we need to know why you want to go to the moon. It's really important that we understand why, so that we can help you get there in your memory, so that you can die happy." And he's like, "I don't know." And that, when that fucking clicked for me, I like fucking goosebumps, man. Shit. So they start going back through Johnny's memories and they reveal things about Johnny's life, including his past wife, River, who is revealed throughout the game to have been an adult diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome. And she fucking loves lighthouses. And that is also explained later on as well. But they live next to a lighthouse and it's a lighthouse that's important to them, and they got married at, and she's named the lighthouse, and she wants Johnny to stay with the lighthouse and look after the lighthouse. So you go back further and further, but there's a part of your memories you can't get. There's a part of Johnny's memories that you can't get past, isn't there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so you're like, well, fuck it. If we can't get past that, let's just introduce the need to. you have this weird bit where you and Watts and Rosaline are like fucking memory spermatozoids, and you fly through all the memories and you link them all up so that
Just a
Johnny wants to
floating
go to the
bed.
moon. Yeah, it's proper weird.
I did appreciate that bit quite. Like, yeah, when you go through it, it is like quite bizarre. It's I guess like it's quite a weird direction to go in the game. Like everything up until that point, you're like, oh, this is all like really emotional and stuff, and then it's like, yeah, we need to try and convince him to go to the moon, and they just go off and do all their weird shit, like you say. It's just, yeah, it does take a bit of a like segue away from what the game's actually about.
Yeah, and so like you look up all the memories, but he still doesn't actually go to the moon in his memories. So you're like, we have to go deeper. You pull a full-on fucking Inception. You're like, we have to go deeper. And then there's some stuff with roadkill that is
Oh man,
rough.
Yeah, it's just to incite the memory by smell, right?
Yeah. And so you go deeper and you discover that Johnny, when he was younger, had a twin. And then the twin, sadly, passed away. And Johnny
Yeah.
had the memory suppressed. And it's also the reason, the bit about his mum constantly referring to him as his twin's name is weird and sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you get far enough back past all that sad shit that you discover that when Johnny was little, he met his future wife at a fair. And they said that they'd see each other next year, and they don't. But he says, they say if they find a constellation together, don't they? Which is a rabbit. With the
Yep.
moon is the rabbit's big round tummy.
That's so sweet. Yeah.
And they decide that if they ever get separated, they'll meet again on the moon. And so then it all clicks into place that the reason she keeps making loads of rabbits is to try and remind him that they met all that time ago. And the reason that he wants to go to the moon, but he doesn't know why, is so he can be with his wife again.
yeah.
And then it all goes fucking weird, like knock off the Matrix for a bit. And
Oh yeah.
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 and like a bunch of weird memory stuff happens, and Dr. Rosaline fucking trips out on you and does a bunch
She
of bad
like breaks
shit.
off and refuses to tell her partner her plan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like that entire sequence would have been a lot easier had she just gone, oh, here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a
totally.
classic
She doesn't.
story element, though, isn't it?
I mean, I guess to an extent she did, and he probably still would have been against it because it was still risky, but
yeah, and Dr. Watt wanted to do the good thing. Like, he wanted to
Yeah.
do what he believed at the time was the right thing, which was to not change all the memories so that Johnny went to the moon. Because to do that, as he understood it, would actually stop Johnny from having his life with River. And now they understand why he wants to go to the moon, to be with River. They're like, well, nah, as about we just call it a wash. And Rosalind's like, no, we've got a contract. We can't break the contract. So she goes off and does some next level shit, and Johnny ends up joining NASA.
Mm.
But then River also joins NASA, and then they go to the moon together. And it's very sweet.
In this switch of memories, Joey is still alive as well.
Yes, and also they managed to save his brother, and also go to the moon together. And then Johnny gets to die happy, and it finishes with Johnny and River being buried together next to their lighthouse.
Yeah.
And it's very, very sweet. And I really liked it. And it makes me feel a bit emotional thinking about it now. It's nice. It's a really, really nice story.
Yeah, like the story in that is insane. I mean, like you were saying earlier, there are some technical difficulties with the game and the way that it's laid out and the gameplay of it. But I mean, in terms of telling a story and you know really playing on people's emotions, it's outstanding at doing that.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 on that front. Sure.
I didn't mean to just like whiz through it super quickly, but
No.
for the last couple of ones we've done, we've tried to go through the story bit by bit and talk about each bit, and just not actually talked about all the story. So
Yeah.
now we can get in on like the shit of this game, but yeah, I thought it was worth getting the overarching plot down
Yeah, for
and
sure.
established now. I don't know. What, so do people have any highlights? Like I've got a few highlights
So
and
I
possibly
guess
some lowlights as well. But
like the one thing that I really enjoyed about the game was when you would so to get obviously to skip between the memories, you had to find like a memento, which were these things that were like I guess like objects that meant something to Johnny. And it was like you, in order to unlock them, you had to go around and find bits of memories. You had to go find other objects and get the little memory globe things, whatever they're called.
Mhm.
And like just unlocking the mementos and the way that you had to do it, and that little puzzle sequence thing that you had to do. I actually really enjoyed like the way
Oh,
that
yeah.
they worked that into there.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. It was it's fun trying to figure out the puzzle, even though the puzzles are really easy anyway, and trying to hit the ideal amount of turns that it takes to make that puzzle happen.
I very rarely did. There were some I was just like, oh, whatever. And just clicked until it was done. Sometimes they were super easy and you could do it in like 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the lowest always like 3. But there's something that they could have done more with. Like if you don't get the ideal, maybe you don't unlock some bits of the memories or something.
oh no, because then you're locking the one good part of this game behind fucking what is effectively a sliding block puzzle. Fuck that.
Maybe there's some kind of replayability that they could have put in. I don't know. Probably not really good for replayability.
Are you talking about like adding in some butterfly effect stuff where if you don't do it correct, then other shit happens?
Yeah, something like that, or
Man.
just not knowing more, or just unlocking bonus cool scenes just by.
Yeah, but the entire point of this game is that it's a linear story.
Yeah.
They're just telling a story in a point-and-click adventure. So if they locked anything away, it would be complete. It's the same reason that there's nothing to explore and there's no extra bits. It's because all the story is none of the story is incidental. It's all important, really. So if you locked any away, you'd either have to make new, completely pointless story, or you'd be locking away important story.
But you can lock away like bonus scenes. That doesn't really matter. But it's
Yeah, then you have to make bonus scenes, don't you?
Yeah.
It was made in 2011 in RPG Maker. I mean,
no bonus scenes.
yeah.
Can't have it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I did a fair few of those puzzles. I sort of sat and looked at for a couple of minutes and then got in the ideal. But by the end of it, I just stopped caring. And I think I still ended up with like my total clicks is like if you get more than 100 clicks, it just says infinite clicks. And I definitely ended up with that because I was just clicking all over and I just stopped caring. Like, I just wanted to get to the next bit. It seemed like the game was actively trying to stop me getting to the next bit of story at that point.
Yeah, like there were some points when I was walking around looking to collect those memories, and it was like, this isn't actually adding story. I'm just clicking on a jar of pickled olives and a platypus over and over and over again.
What is with pickled olives?
Why? It was because Joey liked
I
pickled
know,
olives.
but
didn't he?
Yeah.
It's not nice.
The fucking pickle eating montage, though.
Yeah.
When you go back in time to the bar, and then you're like, there's only one way to get this memory. Barman, give me some pickled olives. And then you sit there and just smash through a whole jar of pickled olives as Johnny tells you a bunch of great stories.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. And
It's a bit before it when you're at the bar and you're trying to like get a jar of it, and he's like, "Oh, give me a jar, put it on my tab." And he's like, "Nah, what? You don't have any money?" And he's like, "Wait, we can do this again." And you rewind
just
and
reset
do it
the
again.
Oh,
Oh yeah, the barman's like, is that cash or credit? It's like, I'll give you a check.
Yeah.
Like, I don't take check. It's like, all right, put it on my tab. It's like, you don't have any money, do you? Reset the scenario. Yeah, like, I've got written on it, yo, Johnny is at this bar eating pickles straight out of the jar like a boss. Because he's at this bar with 3 other people, with like all of his best friends in the whole world, and they're all just like drinking drinks, and he's sitting there with a jar of pickled olives, fucking scooping them straight out the jar. What a fucking hero.
So gross.
Johnny is the best.
I thought, right, at the point in the school canteen where Johnny was sitting with his friend Nicholas, right?
Yes.
I thought he was a dick because he was like the exact quote from the game was a human hogging hipster because he wanted to be with River because she was strange, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently, yeah, that's a huge throw off because that's obviously not why he wants to be with River. Yeah, that was a cool line I thought I wrote down.
I thought that was kind of strange. They kind of tried to throw in this bit where they made him seem like a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that's just what kids are like. When they're talking to friends about girls, they say stupid shit. I feel like you can't trust what a kid's saying about that to be the actual truth, you know?
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I thought that was a really weird thing they added in. It was like, let's make this guy seem a bit actually like the enemy for some reason.
And then when he was younger as well, he just seems like a spoiled brat. Not really a spoiled brat. It's just like he doesn't get the toys because Joey gets them. But
To be fair, imagine if your twin brother did the exact same thing as you and got a sick ass train and you got a platypus
yeah, but
toy.
Joey's such a nice little kid though.
But Joey died, and the platypus got Johnny laid. So
Yeah, so really,
Who's the
Who's the real
actual
winner?
It's sad because he's still dead.
that is why it's sad. Sure, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm glad you explained that to me.
So, do you want to talk about the other weird thing, Dylan, that I know also upset you?
Maybe?
You don't know
What is it?
The Animorphs thing.
Oh yeah, the fucking where you have to type in the name.
But not just that. Just
The entire thing, yeah.
The constant weird use of Animorphs throughout
They
this
kept talking about
entire
it.
story is fucking weird.
It's only
It
two
makes
instances.
No, there's so like
loads, sure.
if you just search around looking, there's like
Right.
an entire bookshelf of the Animorphs, and then
Yeah.
his mum got him an Animorphs book for the wedding and weird shit like that. And I mean, it makes sense once you get back to the beginning because Joey is reading an Animorphs book like the day he dies or whatever.
Right, yeah.
But it is weird. They really fucking shoehorn in Animorphs a lot.
They should have just picked a different book. Or they should have just made up a book. I don't know why
Yeah.
they had to use actual animal. Considering Actual Animorphs was first published in 1996.
Oh, goddamn.
So when does this
Yeah, but
when does this plot
the,
take place?
The kids are using Alt-Tab when they're kids.
Yeah. And if you didn't get the animal question right, and then you went back to talk to River
So just
told
Google
you
it.
to, Google it. Yeah.
Even if you get it right. It
Oh
tells you
yeah,
to Google
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay.
But it doesn't seem like a game that takes place in fucking what has to be like 2080.
Well, I mean, they're using fucking
Yeah.
memory changing stuff.
But that's it.
But that's not something we have now. It's not unreasonable for it to be in the future.
I don't know. I just thought it was really odd. I thought
They
the
never
memory,
establish it though.
yeah,
I
like the
know what you
memory
mean.
changing thing. You just go, okay, well, it's a world where we've got memory changing stuff. Everything else about this world seems exactly the same as our world. Like people aren't fucking dressed up in clear raincoats, Blade Runner style. Like this is just 2018 or 2011, and then you go, actually, wait a minute. When this 80-year-old man was a child, he was reading books that came out in 1996, which means we're definitely
that
in the
makes
future.
sense. That makes sense because it makes sense because the shuttle is basically like a 1990s to 2000s kind of thing, right? So he would remember that from his childhood, and he would become an astronaut to go on that. And now he's 80 plus old, so it would be like 2080, 2100s maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
I mean,
Like the
that's-
shuttle isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying it would be like 2080, but it the game, instead of setting up Sigmund Corp and the memory technology better, it establishes the fact that it takes place in what is like the considerably far future by just having all the characters read Animorphs when they were children.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I didn't really think about what time it was taking place until she goes, "Well, you could have just Googled it," and it's like, wait a minute, this is like 50 years ago.
Yeah,
So that was a bit. It does come off really strange because like you say, it's all the setting is just modern, right? It's, I guess, because they're out in a house in the woods, so you can't really. People, I think areas like that tend to look a bit older and like don't take on all these weird futuristic design features. So it's not too outrageous, but you do kind of just think, okay, well, it's just set now. And then they talk about Google in the past, and it's a bit confusing. So there could have been done something to actually be like, we're in the future, or just not bother with any time. Like if you like you say, Mark, if they just given him a fake book and not talked about Google, it would have been fine.
Yeah, that's
Because I
like,
mean,
even
rockets have been
having-
around long enough.
yeah, they have, and like even having Google and computers and like Alt Tab and other stuff, there's enough of a range of time on that existing that doesn't really date it at any point other than, okay, they were in adolescence at some point in the early 2000s. You go, okay, well you can then just deal with that. But the bit that struck me was I thought that it was set in the modern day and you were going back in time until the Animorphs thing came up, and just the constant repetition of Animorphs coming up. It's like, Animorphs, I was too young for Animorphs. Like, what the? I don't know. I just thought it really rubbed me up the wrong way. It's just like a super strange thing the game did.
Yeah,
And like, if they had just established their time in a way that wasn't, we're going to keep referencing a very, very specific point in the 90s to be a child, I'd have thought that was a lot more reasonable.
It's not the only time that they have these references to real world, right? Dylan was talking a lot earlier about Neil Watts. Neil, is it von Matterhorn or something?
He calls himself Lorenzo von Matterhorn, which is a reference to How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
But even then, that's a weird reference, because why would someone 80 years from now be referencing How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, I mean, people don't even reference that now anymore.
Yeah, like, that's a really obscure reference from How I Met Your Mother to be referencing.
Yeah.
Like, at least if it was Barney Stinson, I'd understand that maybe people still sort of are aware. Because it was a pretty big thing. Like, maybe people would still know How I Met Your Mother then because of things like Netflix. I don't know. But Lorenzo von Matterhorn, nobody's going to fucking know, are they?
Yeah.
And like, there's a Doctor Who thing in there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was weird with the piano.
Which, like, I agree. I also wouldn't mind watching an entire episode of Doctor Who that is solely about getting a grand piano through the TARDIS door. That sounds like a lot of fun, but it's a strange reference. And I've noted down a couple of others, actually. Did you get the jab at Twilight they took?
No?
He picks up a book called Dusklight that is about it's about a girl who falls in love with a kind-hearted zombie who sparkles in the sunlight.
I did. Yeah.
And there's also, did you get the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference that was in there as well?
No.
So the book on origami, the description of the book on origami is the way it talks about how it replaced the different book on origami is structured and directly quotes the bit in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy where the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy describes how it replaced the previous encyclopedia for hitchhikers, even down to its information is widely apocryphal. Like, the cadence is exactly the same, and like a lot of the language is the same. Like, there's just a bunch of really weird references in this game. I don't know.
Some of them were way too blunt, I thought. Like that Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy one sounds... It's sort of out the way, it's not too bad. But some of them were just like, why are you doing this? It comes across so weird. Like every time, it just feels really shoehorned in. And I don't understand why. And it always just made me feel a little bit strange. In the same way, a similar thing with it all is... So those sort of... When they speak about that sort of stuff, but also when they fake swear... There's loads of points where they say, like, what the cupcake?
Oh yeah.
And every time I'm just like, why? You've established points where you use the fucking, like, whatever it's called, at symbol plus...
Grawlix.
Grawlix, yeah. There's a few times where they use a weird bad Grawlix because they use parentheses, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I love that you've was very specific about the type of Grawlix that that is allowed to be implemented in your media.
No, but it's strange to see backwards parentheses in Grawlix, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
it looks weird.
Yeah.
but-
Sure.
So they do that, and then just sometimes go what the cupcake or oh my cucumber. Like that's literally one. When he gets thrown against the glass window of the guy's old house, she sees him and screams what the cucumber.
My favorite one was
It's so weird.
Crikey Nutcrackers.
Yeah. It just all felt really like it was written by a child.
I don't know. I feel like we've just gone back to shitting on it again, and I really liked this. I really liked this game, but there is just a lot of. Okay, I'm going to talk about. I've got some things here that I wrote down that I did like. The description on the candy cane, which says 10% candy, 90% bribery. So I thought it was excellent. I thought when you walk to the edge of the cliff and then you get a note on acrophobia, and then the definition of acrophobia according to the game is it's something that Johnny and River apparently didn't have.
Yes. Yes.
What's acrophobia?
Fear of heights. That's why you get it when
really?
you walk up to the edge of the cliff. Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, I remember that bit. That was...
Yeah, like I said, like the Piccoli-2 montage, it's just fucking incredible. Like, it's so
That's
good.
the thing. There are, like, that sense of humour that they have sometimes really plays off well.
Yeah.
And there were points where I legitimately found it funny. But, yeah, I don't know.
That was
Like,
like
I mean,
at the end of the game where they're watching the launch on the bridge, and
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Dr. Watts put his hand on Eva's shoulders, and she just like brushes it away. It's
Yeah.
really, really good detail because they're still bickering at the end.
Yeah, it's so good. And like
Yeah,
when you're doing that weird, like desperate attempt to make him think about the moon throughout his entire life, and Dr. Watts puts on Dr. Watts' Incredible Moon Show.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say, yeah, that it's quite possibly like the best bit of that is just seeing him and like the way that the music changes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're funny.
Like you
The
know
little
something
montage
dumb's
is
gonna
too
happen.
good. Yeah. The little montage is too good where they're just, like, they'll just pop into a scene and be like, honeymoon, hey?
yeah.
When she's like, I'm going to change this film to be about the moon, and they go in, and it's just like the corniest dialogue going, my darling, we have to go to the moon. Yes, the moon! And she's like, oh, I shouldn't make up memories when I'm tired.
And free pony rides in space.
Yes, I have
Yeah,
that written
man.
down.
Yeah.
I literally have that written down. It's so good.
It wasn't just in space, it was in space!
Yeah, and like, fucking, but then also, just to bring it back down again, there is a Hadouken and a Kamehameha wave in this game.
Yeah.
which I think
And a
is-
Hulk smash.
Yeah.
and a Hulk smash, which I think is I think we have to have the discussion, Dylan. We have to have the discussion about whether or not Dr. Watts is a cool dude.
He's such a jerk, but also not a jerk.
He's
It's
a
confusing
jackass.
and I don't like it.
I've got written down at several points in my notebook that he is a real motherfucker, but also a pretty alright guy.
Yeah.
Well, he clearly has good intentions, doesn't he? Because that's the whole story, isn't it? It's the end is he's like, well, he's in love. We shouldn't be doing this. But
Yeah.
then he is just a bit of a dick too. So it's very difficult to know how to feel about him. He's one of those friends who's really nice and you like him, but it's just a real shitbag, you know?
He's just a jerk.
Just all of us.
It's like every interaction you and I have with each other, Dylan.
Basically.
But it's, yeah, I got a lot of love for Dr. Watts, man. Dr. Watts is fucking great. He is 100% my kind of time traveler.
He definitely gets better towards the end. And
Mm.
and then they sort of set up that whole weird like pain thing.
Yes, when they implicate that he is a drug addict.
Yeah. Which I didn't get at first. I didn't have a clue what was going on there. I only understood that after watching some videos.
Yeah, I thought it was like a weird thing where they somehow are still in a memory, like another layer.
Yeah, that's how it came across, isn't it?
Yeah, it really did.
But apparently not.
I missed the drug taking scene. Well, not scene, little animation, I guess. I totally
So
didn't see that.
Did you pick up the pills when you went to check the car for the container to pick up the roadkill?
No.
No,
So
I
when you
didn't.
go to pick up the roadkill, she's like, "I'm gonna get a container," and then if you search the car, you get the container, but pills also fall out. And if you go and then pick up the pills, Rosaline then questions Dr. Watts about it.
Oh, really?
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is like a whole thing you can get there about that, and then obviously there is that weird animation, I think, where he does just like, pop some pills, because that's how Dr. Watts do. But it's weird because it doesn't really. It's a plot thread that doesn't really go anywhere, does it?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we spoke about this yesterday, Mark. You watched some stuff about the DLC, right? Or read up some stuff about the DLC.
I understand that there is DLC. Isn't the DLC like it talks about the Christmas party they reference or something?
So the DLC is there's two of them, right? And they released one at each Christmas, and it's set, I believe, at the Christmas party, but it's afterwards.
Right. Okay. It's not the one because in the game he references getting messed up at a Christmas party, doesn't he?
Yeah, so it's not that one. It's just
Okay.
another Christmas party. At
Right,
least
I didn't
that's
know
what it
that.
seems like. So, like in the first one, you play a little game that Dr. Watts has made based on their adventure in the first game, Into the Moon.
Okay.
There's like a little mini 2D sprite game. But also just you go around Sigmund Corp and experience a bunch of stuff. And also you find out that people are protesting Sigmund Corp. And nothing is established with what's wrong with Dr. Watts, which was a bit annoying. And then in the second one, Dr. Watts is messing around with one of the machines and is like 30th times the charm and puts it on his head. Then there's some weird shit with the tape recorder. Eva Rosalind sees herself just disappear. She's driving a car, nearly runs over herself. And then at the end, it just suddenly fucking flickers and she sees herself with that helmet on. So the first one is really just kind of, fun times walking around an office. And then the second one is a lot of just, what the fuck is happening? Never explain anything.
It's just
They
like
just don't-
Inception style memory hopping within memory hopping.
Yeah, and then they don't go anywhere with it. And I know there's like a sequel now, and I'm not sure if they go anywhere with that, but from the looks of it, no. So I think there's more stuff about the popping pills in the sequel, but there's a whole bunch of weird memory shit that doesn't get explained. Which is
Weird.
strange.
It's
Yeah.
very strange. Yeah. I don't know.
So, like, that first story is this wonderful little story that makes you cry and is lovely. And then everything else he's done makes no sense. Apparently, Finding Paradise is actually really good.
it's got good reviews on Steam.
Yeah, like apparently it is good, but he has a lot of other ideas that seem to be a bit strange.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that he watched Inception and was like, "Yeah, okay, there's something we
I
can
want
do
some of
here.
that.
We can go deeper."
Yeah, like I guess bringing it back, like so that bit where you finally like manage to connect to his childhood memory at the end, and when Joey gets hit by the car, I like my heart sank. Like I literally thought that was Johnny getting hit, and I was just like, what the hell? Like yeah, my heart just like skipped a beat. Just,
Oh, imagine if they'd done that and it was like actually Johnny gets hit by a car and Joey assumes Johnny's identity.
Well,
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, that would,
but like it's just that bit, man.
Yeah, that bit is rough. Like the back like half hour of this game or so is it's fucking rough, man. Like as it reveals all the things going on in it. And I know we said that the animation in some of those just like purely animated bits isn't great, and it's not. Just the bit where he goes to the fairground and he meets River for the first time is just really sweet.
oh yeah.
And she talks about how she thinks all the stars are lighthouses.
Yeah.
Oh mate, what was your score on the whack-a-mole?
Bad,
I
I
got-
think.
86%.
I got
I
like
think.
85%. Fuck.
I don't remember. I clearly wasn't very good because I haven't written it down. If I had smashed it, I'd definitely have made a note of that in this book. So no, I imagine I did very poorly. Did you guys? What happened with the beach ball with you guys?
What at the beginning of the game?
Yeah.
I just popped it.
Did you push it or did you hit it with the stick?
I hit it with the stick.
Yeah, I just hit it.
So none of us just tried to push it out the way. We all went and got a stick.
I
and
tried.
broke it.
I tried pushing because I played that first bit and then I left the game, but I didn't save it properly, so I did it again that bit and then I pushed it.
So what happens if you just try and push it with your hands?
It just bounces off because it's a ball.
Okay, so then do the kids not upset when it's broken? Because if you go back when you hit it with a stick, the kids are like, "Oh, my beach ball," and Dr. Oz is like, "Don't worry, Rosalind will buy you another." Because she's a bitch and she
so
broke
the
it.
kids just find the ball again because it just bounces off,
Okay.
right? Yeah, and they're happy about it. Seems.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah. Choices matters. No,
It's like the only choice in the entire game.
yeah.
I chose to be Rosalind instead of Watts at that bit. That was a choice.
Oh yeah, same. Yeah, I did that.
How long does that last for?
Literally just while you're walking around the house.
Yeah, because I was about to say, because I chose to be Watts, and then obviously, like the very next scene, it makes you play as Rosalind anyway,
Yeah,
and then it just
I think
like
it's
swaps
literally just
between them.
yeah,
it
it's just
switches
walking around
around.
the house.
Oh, fair enough. I wonder if you get any different dialogue there. Probably don't.
Well, I think with that beach ball thing, Rosalind just offers to buy a ball.
Oh, right, okay. How does she react to all of the creepy shit? All of the creepy rabbits?
Oh man.
Oh, I can't remember. I think she's just a bit like, this is strange.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't? Yeah, I was Rosalind at that point.
Yeah.
It was that moment when you go down into the basement and then you just turn on the light to that room and you just see all of the rabbits. I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? Because at that point, obviously, you don't have a clue.
Mhm,
And I was just like, I remember just being there, turning on the light and just having it all there and just seeing it. I was like, yeah, what the fuck is this?
I was super creeped out by that.
The music's well next at that point as well.
Yeah.
The music's
Mm.
proper creepy. They use the one bit of creepy music they have to very good effect.
Yeah. Man, River must have been so sad.
Yeah, dude.
She was constantly making rabbits, just like, please remember.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's just fucking paper rabbit, isn't it? What's your problem, you crazy lady? It's a rabbit.
Like he thought that it was her Asperger's that's making her weird, right? But
Yeah.
To be fair, it was. She was doing that because of her Asperger's, but
that's true, I guess, in a way.
like I doubt she would have done that otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily want to say too much because I don't consider myself an authority on Asperger's, but yeah, I believe that is the case. I feel like if she didn't have Asperger's, she would have probably just been like, Johnny, man, what the fuck, dude, come on, really, dude.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. All right.
But
It's a whole
I don't
fixating
know.
on things, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
my entire understanding of Asperger's comes from the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime, and I need to double check that actually is Asperger's, but I believe that's
Yeah,
the
it
case.
is.
Yeah, so that's I don't want to be ignorant on the matter because it is a serious topic, but I believe the reason why she makes all the rabbits is because she's fixated on this particular way to unlock Johnny's memories because it means something powerful to her.
Yeah.
Right.
She's basically trying to say, you can meet me on the moon, right? And is like seems to be fully aware that he doesn't really remember any of that.
Yeah. Mate,
Yeah.
They didn't. The lighthouse things. I thought you kind of understand it towards the end, but they still never fully explained like why the lighthouse is Anya and why she. Because I guess it's the whole she wants to befriend one,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
they never go. I don't think they give enough weight to it once they've explained it. So it's hard to actually establish that. It seems really disconnected.
Yeah, it seems like they go, okay, she likes lighthouses, she likes this lighthouse, it's got a name for it, she cares about it, it's significant to their relationship. Then they explain why lighthouses are significant to her, but then they don't, like, connect the dots on those two things. So you go, well, okay,
Yeah.
she likes lighthouses because, like, she sees the stars as all these lighthouses and trying to talk to her, and all this, and, like, it gives her this connection to, like, the world, which is cool. And then she likes this lighthouse because it has this significance in her life. But
Yeah.
they never really explain why it has that significance in her life. I don't think. They don't, like, explain how they came to find this lighthouse and return to it and give it the name. They're just like, oh, we got married at this lighthouse. We've got a house
They
at
just
this
find
lighthouse.
one. Yeah.
Can you just do that? Can you just find lighthouses and just hang out there?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess they might have not explained it because it's probably pretty hard to come up with a valid reason of why they love this particular lighthouse so much.
Should have just rode horses there.
They should have done, yeah. That should have been where they did like the equine therapy or something. But
Yeah. Oh, mate, I did enjoy riding the horse.
oh, it was so good. You could finally gallop. I think had they put sprinting into the entire game, I wouldn't have hated it.
Just
It's
need
the
that
same with
movement speed.
Pokemon. Like we were speaking about this when we were trying to discuss our next game with Pokemon Game, and we were saying about how you can speed it up in emulators, and that really helps. I think.
Was it Gen 3
I think
where they
s-
gave you the running shoes? And it changed everything.
No. Yeah, so like sprinting even in that helps, right?
Yeah.
But just making yourself faster, even if it doesn't matter at all, I think helps significantly with gameplay because it feels like you're doing something. Whereas if
Yeah.
you're just walking around at a limited speed, it's just annoying because it's like, why can't I go faster? Whereas if you can sprint, it's like, yeah, baby, I'm going so fast.
The thing in the game is you can move faster in some scenes, and in some scenes.
Yeah,
not.
sometimes you walk really fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Mm.
it's
Which is
a saunter.
A gentle saunter.
Indeed.
Yeah, what did you guys make of like that whole sequence towards the end of the game where obviously you were trying to chase down Rosalind and try and get like her, and then you had the zombies and whatever coming after you and all of the booby traps? Because I don't know if this is a thing that was like meant to happen, but I guess like I stepped on one of like the spiked booby traps.
Mm.
And somehow managed to like get myself. I don't know if it's like a glitch. It might be something in the game that you can actually just do. But I managed to like just walk around the entire map, like just walk on like through the walls and through everything.
So this is what happened to me early on in the game when you were. So that screenshot I sent to the group,
Yeah.
when you're jumping over some logs at one point, if you go a bit funny, you get kicked off of the map and you can just go anywhere. So I walked to the moon. So yeah, that just it just glitches out, and it means you can't actually continue the game. But I guess because it's a cutscene at the end, it probably fixed it, didn't it?
Mm.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that never happened to me, but that
Yeah.
sounds I know yours glitched out, mine crashed. So there you go.
Sounds convenient though, because you don't have to do that stupid zombie bit.
No,
You
no,
throw
yeah.
plants at them because it's zombie versus plants, right?
Oh, it is. Fuck! I didn't even realize.
Yet another weird reference in this
Yeah.
game.
I really liked that scene, other than the having to dodge things.
Yeah.
It's not a game designed for dodging
No,
things, really.
no.
But all of the going into the rooms and seeing the memories and stuff like that, I thought was brilliant because it was like the culmination of the story, right? And it was all going a bit crazy. They should have just done that. They should have had you walking along and things go crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the dodging stuff wasn't too bad. It was a relatively nice change of pace. Like it stands out in my mind as like the only time in the game I really had to concentrate on what I was actually doing.
Yeah.
I think it was the fact it was the dodging and the zombies. Had it just been the dodging or the zombies, I would have been fine. But both was just too much brain space.
It's
See,
pretty good in the sense that it doesn't kill you and make you restart, because that would be the most annoying thing ever.
See, I was just going to ask, like, is there a way to die in that? Like, if you just stay
No.
still and do nothing, do you...
It just moves you. It just hits you back. You can't stay still. If you hit a booby trap or a zombie, then you get knocked back.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, luckily it's not very punishing at all. Like you just you can basically just keep holding right, and eventually you can just luck your way through it. Like it's not the hardest bit of gameplay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very strange thing. It's a really beautiful story that is told in a fascinating, if not necessarily good, way.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the animation for it.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it
that
could be
movie's going to be
something-
fucking great.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's 3.5 hours with all the weird bullshit in it. So you could probably cut it down to only include, to still have the necessary setup. I think that's the key part, isn't it? If they don't include all the actual story and just make it like an hour and a half long, it might be a bit shit. Because I think all the weird setup is actually really necessary and really helps. But I wonder what will happen when you take out all the... Like, how much time does it take off by taking out all the walking and stuff that's not necessary? So maybe it'll work really well.
But like, if you like going back through the memories, like each set of memories has 4 scenes to it. You could easily cut out 2 of those scenes per age and not lose any story.
Yeah.
Like you could compress that first act is the majority of the length of this game.
Yeah.
And you could compress that down a fair bit. As long as you kept the pickle eating montage in, you could compress it down pretty massively to just be like 2 time skips, and then you can't do the third because the memory's blocked. We don't know why. Right, let's try and make him think about space.
Yeah.
Yep.
Easily. I know what you mean. There were a few there where you sort of walk around being like, well, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I'm not learning anything
They
new.
didn't need the animal references. They can just get rid of that bookstore scene probably as well.
Yeah, like you could totally gut all the animal stuff from this, and it wouldn't change the plot in the slightest.
The bookstore scene does set up that future bit where the brother is signing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they can just
Yes.
add a little signing scene.
You can't go to a memory that hasn't existed already.
Shit, yeah, you're right. Fuck. Just alright. Just don't put
Just
animals
don't.
in the movie.
Yeah, it can be anything. Like I think the link to the childhood is good because that's the reason he's collecting it. I mean, those are really the only clues to the fact that it's been thought through that there was a death. Otherwise, it's just like if you ignore the animal thing and ignore him being called Joey, which I know is a bit facetious to say, ignore those things, but like you get to the death and it's just like, oh, you're kind of tugging on my heartstrings by making up a brother.
Yeah.
Which seems like a bad way of doing this. But when you think of all those other connections, there is actually
Yeah, when
stuff.
you have the pickled onion or the pickled olives and the animorphs and the Joey thing, And is the backpack linked to Joey as well?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Okay, well, yeah. Either way, I think honestly, and I'd say this again as a strong proponent of the pickled olives montage. You could just swap out the Animorph thing entirely for pickled olives. Would have been fine.
Yeah, true.
Just be like, just have Dr. Watt in the first time they jump back into memory, just being like, why the fuck does this guy like pickled olives? Pickled olives are fucking gross.
Yeah.
And
that
then
would've
just keep
worked
having
fine.
pickled olives in lots of scenes.
I mean,
then
they
when you
did
do
that
re-
anyway, right?
Yeah, yeah, and then when you do that reveal, just be like, oh, it's because Joey liked pickled olives. Shit.
I think they definitely needed one thing that was more of a hint that he had a brother. So when you look back on it, it's like, oh, that's why that was there. Because the other things are just things, right? Like, it's a book and pickled olives. There can be any number of explanations as to why he likes those things. Whereas there was no, or at least I didn't come across, there was nothing that was like, this only makes sense if it was because he had a brother that died. I mean, the Joey thing, but again, that's just a name. He didn't have an object that was like clearly his brother's, and there was no way to figure it out beforehand, which I think is kind of important in those sort of mysteries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, I reckon if you had enough scenes set in the past where you could have, like, the mum calling him Joey, and you had the pickled olives, and then it could be another type of book that he's obsessed with, that he loves and like reads constantly. Like, he could just always be carrying around some fucking weathered copy of some book, but just Animorphs.
Yeah, it just didn't have to be
Really?
anime. It takes out a lot of the emotional impact, doesn't it?
Yeah, just like I saw the front covers of a lot of Animorphs books. They look pretty dumb.
I had a few of them. They were pretty dumb.
Hanging like what is in a lot of ways the emotional core of your story on all I can visualize is a teenage boy very badly CGI turning into like a dolphin.
Yeah. That's
Like that.
Animorphs.
Yeah, like that shouldn't be the emotional crux of your story. It's barely the emotional crux of the Animorphs story.
Hey man, from what I understand, Animorphs does actually go places. There's a guy who turns into a bird for too long, ends up being a bird.
Shocking.
I did want, when you said too long, I was like, oh, what happens if you're a bird for too long? Yep, you become a bird. Should have guessed. Should have guessed, Mark. I don't know.
I think
Do you
he's
guys
like
have
a
anything else?
smart bird.
You would
Sorry.
hope so. I was just going to say, do you guys have anything else to say about To the Moon or birds?
Freebird have also made a game about birds, and that ties in to the sequel because you fix the memories of the character in that bird game. There you go,
Ooh.
birds.
Whoa.
And
They
To
got
the
a whole
Moon.
fucking universe, baby.
Yeah. I don't know. I am kind of interested to play Finding Paradise, the sequel.
Yeah.
Me too.
I want to know what that's about.
A little bit. As much as I hated playing To the Moon, I really liked it in the end, so I kind of want to play the next one, but
I
also feel like I'd hate it.
just want to see what Dr. Watts is doing. Maybe I'll watch a fucking Let's Play. Maybe I'll just find a
Yeah.
YouTube of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
that's
like-
it. Because then, if you find a good Let's Play as well, they read the text for you, so you don't even have to be paying attention the entire time, and you still get the story. Brilliant.
Ah.
Good stuff.
Just get in like a pizza and some beers and just settle down for the continuing adventures of Dr. Watts. It sounds like a
I
good use
didn't-
of an evening.
This kind of game is pretty good as like a time killer if you're... It's not a good game to sit down and play. It's a good game to use up time, I think. Because it gives you that good story and like you're not doing anything else otherwise. But I don't think it's worth... So the way we played it in like doing it all at once, I think is probably the wrong way to... Well, not even necessarily doing it all at once, but we did it all at once specifically to play the game. I think it's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I had a big block of time last weekend with nothing to do, so I settled down and was just like, right, I'm gonna play this and I'm gonna experience what this is all about, and I did it all in one sitting,
Yeah.
and like I think that isn't a bad way to do it because the whole story comes together in one go. I wonder if splitting it out over several play sessions might make it just seem a bit too disparate. Like it's already not a very long game. It's already got a lot of weird shit in it. I think if you don't have the like building pressure of the emotional reveal of this story to push you forward and be like, well, I need to fucking understand these fucking rabbits, man,
Yeah.
then it may not actually have anything of value at all.
True. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe like as a train journey. I think it would be good for a train journey.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That is kind of what I mean. Is just like because like you say, Mark, you didn't have anything else to do at the time.
Yeah, totally.
You weren't playing it because we were doing it for the show. I mean, you were, but that specific moment, you weren't playing it to do it for the show. You were playing it because you had some spare time.
Yeah,
And I think
totally.
that's how you need to come into this game. Otherwise, you won't enjoy it. But if you come into it with that sort of just, I've got some spare time. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to finish this game. I think it is worth it. It is worth enjoying that story. As long as you don't mind clicking.
Or using the arrow keys.
No clicks here, boy.
I can't believe you used the arrow keys the whole time. I didn't even know that was possible.
No.
I was
See, what you need is to connect a controller and then use the trigger to click and the thumbstick to move, and then you can do it one-handed without the mouse. That is the dream.
that is probably doable. Also,
Yeah, well, definitely.
about Finding Paradise. Let's do it.
I don't
no.
have anything else to say about that.
Yeah,
I'm to the moon exhausted. I'm drained.
I've gone to the moon. I'm looking at my Audacity waveform, and it looks like I had a lot to say about To the Moon.
I was worried we weren't going to talk very long about it, but we've hit a good time.
Yeah, it's a solid episode.
We
Yeah,
got
man.
12 minutes in, and I felt like we were already flagging, but we made it.
I mean, I made the possibly mistaken move to open up the episode by complaining about this game's myriad technical problems for like a full 20 minutes, so it's probably on me.
It did need saying. It does. That is, I think, coming into that game. Not that anybody who has listened to this and not played it could enjoy that game now.
Yeah, that is true, actually.
But were you to come into this game not understanding that there are technical problems, but it's still worth playing, I think you couldn't play it. There is too much wrong with it that you need to be aware that it's worth pushing through.
Yeah, I really expected it to be a lot more like. I mean, to repeat what I've been repeating the entire time, I thought it was a sweet story. Like, it was a really, really nice, well told story for the most part, apart from some weird anachronisms. But it had weird technical problems in it, and I didn't think it was a very good point and click adventure game. Like, I could have forgiven the technical problems if it hadn't crashed, or I could have forgiven the crashes if it didn't have other weird visual problems. And like, you two had some glitches with it, and I could have forgiven the kind of lacking gameplay from a point and click perspective if it had more writing in it around things you picked up. Like, if you can only click and like get a bit of incidental dialogue about very few things in that game.
Yeah.
And I could have forgiven the fact that it didn't have that if the puzzles had been more than once you've walked into these, because like by the time it gets to those later bits where you're doing those sliding block puzzles, you're unlocking those puzzles just by walking places. Like, you're not even clicking on objects to get those memory orbs anymore. You're just walking into new areas and you get them.
Yeah.
Which is dumb. I didn't like that.
So like, there's a balance to it where like it's a great story, but it needed to either have nothing else wrong with it, or if it was going to have other things wrong with it, find a balance there and have like, okay, have actual point and click puzzles or have actual point and click dialogue. or have
Yeah.
weird technical problems, but not boot me the desktop twice and fucking hose my computer, or vice versa again. I don't know.
It's a brilliant story, but a bad game, I think,
If
Yeah,
you
I
can call
completely
it a
agree.
game, yeah.
is my crux. My crux, my final thing.
Yeah, Dylan, you've summed it up far more succinctly than I did in my rambling just then. I completely agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about what we're coming back with next month? Our July Neon adventure.
Yeah.
Wait, is it Neon or is it Outrun?
It's not Neon, it's Outrun apparently.
Shit.
I think actually it's a bit more synthwave.
Wait, Synthwave is Outrun. That's how they use Outrun now, right? Shit.
I don't know. Just bright.
What about the Drive aesthetic?
No, it's not.
It's not the Drive aesthetic.
Is Ryan Gosling in this?
Oh man, imagine. To be fair, I think it's just. I agree with Chor that it's not quite Neon. This is going to make more sense once we say what it is. I agree with Chor that it's not quite Neon. But it is, I don't think you'd be wrong to say it's Neon, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Which is a strange thing.
What about if we call it Electro?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think Electro is a good.
It's
good
got
one.
like a sort of vibrant electricity kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
I'm getting, from the screen, if you go into your library and click on it, the little image that comes up behind it gives me a very sort of gritty Breath of the Wild feel to it.
Huh.
If you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
okay.
There's that sort of ancient technology kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's got an ancient sci-fi feel.
It is basically that, yeah, for sure.
Mate, fucking nailed it.
So, does someone want to name the game?
Yeah. Well, sure, you can do it since you're the super keen one.
It's called Hyper Light Drifter.
Yes.
It's developed by some company because I don't know. I haven't looked that up.
For fuck's sake.
You're so bad at this. Oh my god, hold on a minute.
It's developed by
I didn't
Heart
even
Machine.
try.
It's developed by who?
Heart Machine,
Yeah, and when did it come out?
2016. March.
Sweet. So
31st.
we're playing a Heart Machine's 2016 action role-playing game Hyper Light Drifter, which is a sort of electric neon-soaked fucking top-down adventure game kind of thing. I don't know. It looks like it's got a bit of Zelda and a bit of something else in it. It looks like a cross between A Link to the Past and Bastion, while
Yeah.
covered in like blue and pink paint.
And pixel,
Yeah.
pixel art. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's A Link to the Past.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fun fact: it is best played with an Xbox 360 or Xbox One or PS4 controller.
Yeah. Control
Right.
recommended, like for sure.
Cool. Well,
Which is going to be tricky for me.
what do you not have an Xbox One controller?
No, I do, but I don't think they work so well with Macs, do they?
I think you just have to get the dongle, don't you?
Yeah.
You can just dong up. You have to
Just
get dong.
research. There might be solutions.
Xbox One controller, Mac. I don't know. I'm not going to do this well on the podcast. But yeah, we're playing Hyper Light Drifter.
I'm hyped. I think it'll be fun. I've been wanting to play this since it came out, and a bunch of people talked about it loads at Game of the Year in 2016, and it looks really
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Sweet. Well, we've been talking about To the Moon. This has been Shouting Over Static, a video game show and tell podcast. I have been Mark. I no longer am Mark. I've moved on from that persona. I'm here with Dylan. Say bye, Dylan.
Bye. Mate, I
Jack?
was ahead of you. I got this.
Bye.
Sure.
Bye.
Thanks for coming on the show, guys. You can find us on SoundCloud at Shouting Over Static. You can find us on iTunes at Shouting Over Static. And you can find us on YouTube, which I believe also at Shouting Over Static, but the channel's called Low Expectations Media. And there is where all our other shit is. guys. It's
We
been a
say that
pleasure.
every week, but we still have no other shit.
I mean, we do. We've got like 24 episodes of the radio show on there.
That's basically the same thing.
Yeah,
It's just got Henry in it.
It's still other
And no
shit
Joel.
and no swearing.
True.
Yeah.
Shit. That's
from that
the
one
opposite of
episode.
other shit.
Apart from that one episode we didn't actually record on the radio show. That episode's
Wait.
great.
What?
It was just after Breath of the Wild came out, or maybe just before it came out. No, just after, and the radio show wasn't on because it was Easter, but we wanted to record an episode anyway to talk about Breath of the Wild. So we sat around a bunch of lapel mics that we'd blue tacked onto an upside down chair on the living room floor at 137, and we
Yep.
recorded an episode in which we swore a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was great.
Anarchy.
I'm fairly certain I begun that episode by saying fuck, fuck, fuckity, fuck, fuck.
Nice.
It was huge.
I derailed the ending there. I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay, I'll just go round again. I'm not. This has been a podcast. If you've listened to it and got to this point and not been bored, well done, I suppose. Sorry that we spoiled To the Moon. Bye.
See ya.
Bye bye.